This is a little introduction to some vector graphics using an online application called Gravit, and this one's a little more professional. It's a little more like Illustrator. It's actually made by CorelDRAW, and we're going to get started and learn about vectors. First thing you could do when you go to gravit.io is you can either go to Got It, go to Designer, or Try It Now, either one. So click on that link and you can create a free account. Now you just have to, if you use your email, you just have to verify it within 3 days. But even if you get started now, you could still save images to the cloud, no problem, as long as you verify your email within 3 days. I'm going to create a new account just to go through that process. And I'll put in an email. And my username, I'll just use this one because that's the first part of that. And then a very simple password that I can remember. Doesn't have to be super secure. And I'll hit start now. And I'm not going to remember it. And then once you sign in, once you create your account, you'll have a button here that'll say create. You'll have an infinite canvas you could work on, and it's working in pixels right now. You could set that to inches or use a letter size paper. But what you can do to start is hit create. It's just creating a new design, and that's all we'll do right now. And this is our interface. And we have pages and layers over here. We won't do a whole lot with this right now, so you could kind of ignore this side for the time being. I mean, you could look over there and see what's happening. But over here, this is contextual, meaning when you select objects, you'll see this area change over here. Right now, there's not a lot going on. So we're going to start building our shield in Gravit. And the way you could do that is go over here to where your tools are. This might show like a rectangle here to start, or a circle. And you're just going to choose a ellipse or an ellipse, which is a circle or an oval. And I'm just going to draw an oval to start. You can make it a little more egg-shaped to start, something like that. To move it around, you're going to use this select tool, which is kind of like a pointer here. They just call that the select tool. There's also one called a sub-select that we're going to use, but right now we're just going to use that. And just for now, we can go and fill it with white. I'm going to go down here to fills and go right in this little circle here and make it white. Now it'll disappear because you won't see it. And then also it's still here, so you could click on it. Go to borders, and there's a little plus sign here for border. You can add a border, and if it's at 1, you could make it like 6 for now is probably fine. So I'm just going to make it 6. We'll hit return, so you have this kind of shape like this. And what you're going to do next is you're going to use this little squiggle thing here, which is convert to path. It's going to change the oval from being a kind of locked shape of being an oval to being a path that you can move the anchor points around, which are going to be the little connecting points. So let's just do that first. And then I'm going to go here to my sub-select tool, and those are the anchor points. You can move these things around, you can change these, and do all kinds of stuff like that, just like you can with Adobe Illustrator. I'm going to just undo and undo again so that we can kind of work on a process here. Now, first thing I'm going to do is convert some of these points to make it like a shield. I'm going to make the bottom pointy. So I'm going to use my sub-select tool. I think that's what they call it. Sub-select. And I'll click down here, and I'm going to change the joint. It's really an anchor point, but they call it a joint. If you click on it, it makes it straight. Now that doesn't look like a shield yet, but I'm going to highlight through these 2 points here, and then you could just move them up. You could drag them straight up. If you try to stay straight, or I think you could even hold shift, and they'll kind of go up straight. So it'll be a little bit like a heart shape in the beginning, something like that. And then you're going to grab this point and bring it down. Now you should have a little guide that could keep it in the middle. If you kind of move right or left, you'll see this little green guide there. So we'll do that to start. And it's like a little kind of almost a heart shape. And then I'm going to click on this point. And instead of using the straight, I'm going to use the one that says disconnected. And by disconnected, then I'm going to drag this top handle down. And the other handle won't move. So I'll drag it down right into the point. And then I'll do the same thing to the other side. I'll click here. I'll check on disconnected, or click on disconnected, and drag that handle down. That's a handle on the anchor point. So it's now a corner point because it has a sharp change of direction. And it's starting to look like a shield. And I can even highlight this side and hold shift and highlight this side. And if I want to move these things up a little bit, I can do that. Now it looks a little weird right now, but that's okay. And then what I'm also going to do is show my rulers. If I go to view here, not view up in your browser, but go to view here and go to canvas and show your rulers. And we're going to move these things around, but I'm going to put this down right about here for now. And then what I'm going to do is drag one of these points kind of down to the line. I'll drag it down to the line. I'll drag this one down to the line. And we could always move the line. Like I just kind of put it there randomly so I could move the line down a little bit more. And, you know, even if you came out a little bit and came down and out a little bit, they don't have to be perfect, but we're trying to use a guide here to keep it somewhat symmetrical. And it's looking more like a shield, except we want this point to go up. So we want this to go up a little bit and then down. Now if we do that, you can see one side of it looks okay, kind of like the Raiders symbol. One side is going up, and then what I also want to do is make it disconnected again. So this point I want to make disconnected, and I want to drag this down. And that way it looks a little more like the Raiders shield or any kind of coat of arms shield. And if you go into your ruler here, right in here, and you just drag, you could bring this down. This will kind of help you line up these things if you need to. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then maybe I'll just drag this thing up a little bit from there. And that looks kind of like a shield. Anything you want to change about it, if you want it more rounded, you could kind of pull this out a little bit more and then drag the guide down so that you can kind of do the other side at the same place. And just do something like that. And that looks kind of like a shield. That's all you really need for right now. And then what we're going to do is just divide it up with some lines. So you could go into here and just use the line tool, and I think it'll keep the same thickness. So, and again, you're not using the pen, and I'm just going to drag the line tool straight up. It should kind of lock in there. You should see a little guide. And I'll do that, and then I'll use it again and go maybe kind of halfway down here and kind of go across, something like that. And we're just making a little shield here for a coat of arms. Now, if, you know, however you do this, you could always stretch things out. You could even use your regular select tool and highlight everything and stretch out the whole shape if you want. Make it a little bit longer. That's fine. That's a nice looking shield right there to start. And then all you're going to do is go over here. You could click here to save it, or you could go in here in Gravit and go File, Save. In your account, it'll save it in the cloud. And just call it shield, which is fine for now. And you could always share files, but right now, actually, let me fix this a little bit. We're going to download this by going to File, Export. And if you export it as a ping, that's probably the easiest thing to do. If you need to edit this in Illustrator or something, you could export it as a PDF. But if you just export it as a ping, that'll work fine in something like Word or PowerPoint. That's all we're going to do now, because that's all we're just going to throw some pictograms in here. So we're just going to export this thing as a shield.ping. So that's in my downloads right now. And then what you could do is go, whatever your choice is, whether you want to go into Word or go into PowerPoint, wherever you want to go, just so that you can kind of drag some things in there. I would drag images here, except they don't let you drag images in here or copy and paste them from the web. You have to place them or import them, so that's more work. So once you're done here, you're pretty much done. You don't have to do anything else here. And then you could go into, I'll just go into PowerPoint. I'll create a new presentation, and I don't need anything here, so I can just get everything out of here for now. Just click on the edges of these things. Just make a blank kind of PowerPoint right now. And I don't need any of this stuff. And again, you could do this in a Word file as well. You could go open a blank Word file and do the same thing, whatever you want to do. I could go over here to Word, do the same thing. And you know, any place that we can just copy and paste images. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my image, and I think in both you have to insert them. So if I go into Word and I insert my image, I'll insert a picture from File, and it's in my downloads right now, so I think that's where that is. It was called Shield, and it's a ping, and I'll put it in there, and I can make it bigger if I want. I could grab on here and make it nice and big, and you could do that. And remember, you can't move it around in Word initially, but if you double click on it, and whether you're in Windows or whether you're in Mac, I'm on the Mac version right now, if you somehow find the wrapping option to wrap text, if you do in front of text, it'll kind of move around on its own, and you could kind of center it on your page a little bit. So if I go back a little bit, that's kind of centered on my page in Word. And again, you could do the same thing in PowerPoint. If you went to PowerPoint, you could do the same thing. You could insert picture from File and do the same thing and put your shield wherever you're more comfortable working in here. So I could have done the same thing in here. When it comes in here, it's more flexible because it's already moving around on its own. So if you want to work in here, that's fine. And then all I want you to do is find some pictograms. You read about pictograms, just some graphic images, not photographs, but very graphic images that kind of describe you and things you like to do. Maybe you play sports, maybe you work on a computer, maybe you ride horses, maybe it's something you did, in the past. I used to lift weights, I like to run, I play guitar, I mess around on a computer, different stuff like that. Whatever you like to do, you do photography, whatever it is, go and do a search and find some images. Just for example, I'll go here and I'll just look up something and I'll just put guitar pictogram. Maybe I can find something that looks like a pictogram, and I'll go to images and I'll start building. Here's guitar icons. That looks pretty good. So let me right click on this just for something for now. I'll right click here and say copy image. I'll go into PowerPoint if I'm doing it there, and I'll paste. And whether you have to paste this image, that way I could put this in here, and that looks okay. Just something like that. And that's why I made the shield white. So if you have images with white backgrounds, you don't have to mess with it too much. So that's all I want you to do for this project. And then once you're done with this, you could save this, like if you're going to save it as a PowerPoint, that's fine. But then you can also export it as a image, and you could save it as a PDF or JPEG, anything that you want, even as a ping when you're done. They let you export all these things out of PowerPoint if you're going to do it there. If you go to Word, let me see, what will they let you do? File, I guess save as, and they might have some things. Maybe just save it as a PDF if you're doing it from Word. So it looks like you have some image options from PowerPoint, and you save it as a PDF from here. So if you save it as a PDF from here, let's just say, for example, let me go back here. And let me say I'm going to file, export, and I'll save this thing as, my shield. And it's saying PDF. Let me choose like ping or something. Putting a .ping, but I'll put .ping after that since it is saving as a ping. And I'm only using one slide right now, so I'll export that. And let me try that again so I don't have that same error about the null. I'm going to do file, export. And I'll choose a ping, except this time when I do it, I'm going to save current slide only, and then I shouldn't have any problem putting the PNG there. And then I'll just call this my shield ping, and it'll go in my downloads, or maybe I'll just throw it on my desktop right now so it doesn't get confused with the other one, and I'll hit export, and that's all I have to do there. And then if I was going to do the same thing in Word, I could go here and do file, save as. They don't have an export here, but I can export it as a PDF, and that exports the whole file. So I could do that, and I'll just call that my shield PDF, and I'll also do that on my desktop. So I'll have a ping and a PDF on my desktop. And then when I go to my Warren, I'm going to go here to coursework for my grd130 class and go down to Unit 5 and go into this EX1 shield with pictograms. And you don't have to upload anything. All you have to do is just hit add comment. And however you do it, if you were going to do the PDF, you would use this insert file icon, and you'd go to insert file and then upload if you're seeing the Moxie Manager. And I put it on my desktop. So I'm looking for myshield.pdf. If it's a PDF, you use file. So that's the one from Word. I'll say overwrite and insert, and there it is. And then also I'll just hit a return in here. If you also wanted to insert your image, or instead you wanted to insert an image, a ping image, just go here to the image icon, just click here, and then just go hit the find button, and then go to upload. And then there's my myshield.png. Obviously it's not finished. And I'll insert it, and if it's 720, you could probably take it down to something like 400 or something. You don't need it that big. And there it is in there. That's all you need to do. So this is the Word version. This is the ping version from PowerPoint. Whatever you choose to do, just hit save, and I'll see it when you're done. So you're starting it off in Gravit by making the shield, and then you're taking it into Word or PowerPoint and just adding some pictogram type images in there that describe you. These should be personal about you. So I might have baseball or football or lifting weights or things I used to do, or running, or computers, whatever I do now. Anything that might describe you to make your coat of arms. So that's all you have to do for that exercise. Hopefully this is a little more fun than talking on the discussion forum and taking quizzes.